What is up, people? It is me, Monster58, and welcome back to another episode of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered. In the last episode, what we ended up doing is basically, for the most part, just continued along with our sports series stuff and hopefully continuing to unlock more events and more cars to try to get to the next class of car for both the cops as well as the racers. And was looking at all the events a bit earlier. And there was a bunch of previews for both of these, both the cops and the racers. And so I figured, why not start off with the preview? And why not start off with the preview of one of the greatest cars, in my opinion, of all time, the Porsche Carrera GT.
Originating from the pits of Le Mans after a 16th overall victory, the engineers went on to develop a concept to show what was technologically feasible. 1,270 handcrafted units were built because exclusivity occasionally needs a limit. Underpinning the Carrera GT is a self-supporting carbon fiber body, which can handle 603 bhp and a speed of 201 miles per hour while remaining incredibly light. The Carrera GT is lighter than the current lightest Porsche available. The world's best-selling high-performance car of 2006 is instantly recognizable as a Porsche. The typical Porsche front includes 3 air intakes, which identify the commitment to managing airflow in the overall design. The engine cover is a beautifully crafted twin-power dome of cross-drilled stainless steel.
So, as she stated, this car is brilliant in so many different ways. Center cap wheels, V10, one of the only V10 street-going Porsches in existence, I believe, that was ever made. Absolutely bonkers styling. I think it looks incredibly amazing. One of the first cars that I can remember that had a raising wing, at least that was a road-going car. This is an embodiment of early 2000s. Whoops. Sorry about that. It's embodiment of early 2000s racing, and I absolutely love the Carrera GT for pretty much everything it represents. And I think that because of how exclusive this car is, how much it's worth nowadays, you can see this car is going for millions of dollars nowadays. Manual transmission, V10, the sound is deafening and amazing. Overall, in my top 10 greatest cars of all time, the Porsche Carrera GT ranks among that top 10. And here we go, behind the wheel of one of the greatest of all time. And I'll just give you guys a second to drain in the noise, or excuse me, to take in the noise. I mean, fellas, you can't get that much better than that. I mean, some only cars that I think that match this thing's absolute deafening and ear candy noise would be something like the Lexus LFA or a V12 Lamborghini like the Mercy or the Aventador. This car just sounds absolutely amazing. And I know that a lot of people will maybe think that it's overrated, but I just think it represents a time in which the car industry will never get back. This type of car will never ever exist in the world that we know today in terms of the automotive. It just will never ever happen. We are still getting some cars with manual transmissions, which is pretty exciting. I mean, you guys see the new BMW M2 has a manual transmission, so just seeing stuff like that is really nice to see. But just this raw level of you and the car, and really not much in driver aids. I mean, I've heard that the manual in this car is a pretty scary car to drive, especially blowing the clutch on one of these things is probably one of the scariest things in existence, especially with the value of this car. So yeah, I mean, I just love this car. I grew up with Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 as I stated in the first episode of the Let's Play, and so this car was a part of that game and such a big part of my childhood as well. So, ow, ow, ow. It hurts me to actually scratch it, but yeah, I love this car so much, and it's fun to drive in this game. Handling is outrageous. I think one of the first things about this car that I saw, besides like playing it in Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, was Top Gear review that Jeremy Clarkson did on it, way back in the original episode of Top Gear. I remember him directly comparing it with the Enzo, and I gotta say, it's up there. It's really up there. I might end up doing like my top 10 favorite and greatest cars of all time, in the way of just like I would show you the criteria that I personally go with, but yeah, fantastic. So we got a level up, which is really nice. Enough about me gushing and simping over the Carrera GT. We are now Suspect 1 at level 3, which is really, really nice. Very, very cool. Let's see what new cars we got. Got a 370Z, same as we unlocked in the last episode for the cop side, which is pretty cool. A really awesome JDM car. I'm not a fan of the Roadster, though. I'm not a fan of Roadsters in general or convertibles. I don't like soft tops much at all, so do another race here. Let's just do an actual race, just to sort of switch it up a bit. All right, we got the Z4. Let's see. Let's do this blue because I already did the description of it last episode, so I'll go ahead and do this. Yeah, should be good. Again, I was always a fan of the Z4. Had a family member. Well, it was like a family member who got married to someone with the Z4, and I remember as a kid I kind of gushed over the Z4 because I really did think it was cool. Even though nowadays I'm not as like. I definitely don't gush over this car as much as I did when I was a kid, because I gushed over every car when I was a kid, whether it was a convertible or something like that. I loved the Chrysler Crossfire when I was a kid. So, just to give you an idea of like the level of excitement I had for cars when I was a kid, so. Because I thought the Crossfire looked freaking cool, you know. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But the Z4, always respected it. I also have a little bit of a soft spot in my heart for it because of Top Gear, watching the Middle Eastern special that they did, where they had the Fiat Barchetta, I think it was the little Barchetta that Hammond drove. I think Jeremy had the MX-5, and James had a Z3 or Z4. I might be completely missing that, but I just realized I missed the shortcut, but that shortcut isn't really, I don't know, it's an okay shortcut. As you can see, we're in the race with a bunch of Z4s, and you will get events like this where it's just like one car, or like it's like half and half, where they do like Italy versus America or something like that, you know, where they have like all Italian versus only American, and so you get like the German cars that are out, all that stuff, so, you know, I was talking about it with my friend the other day, an old friend that I hadn't talked to in a while, and I ended up running into him. Now, when it comes to, like, German engineering, I always thought that German engineering was some of the most, you know, keynote of all engineering. Like, just looking at a brand like Porsche, you just, like, I understand that there's always been issues that people have had with reliability with Volkswagen and BMW, but for me, when it comes to German engineering, specifically like looking at Porsche's engineering is like bar none, like almost unmatched. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. I always tell people, because I like helping people buy cars, like if they're looking for cars, I always try to tell them, hey, if you need help finding a car, I'm always there to help you out. For me, I think the best part about cars is if you're looking for amazing engineering, do go for the Germans are always a fantastic place to go. If you can afford it, obviously a lot of German vehicles are relatively expensive. You know, looking at the big three, Audi, BMW, and Mercedes, it tend to be expensive. But if you're looking for pure reliability and bulletproof engineering as well, go to the Asian market. I mean, we always know, if you're a car person, you know how much Toyota is such, and even if you're not a car person, I'm sure plenty of you have had the experience of owning a Toyota for 1,000 years, you know, owning a Honda for 1,000 years, you know, without major problems, you know, because these cars are just built to last. I mean, again, I'll quote Top Gear with this. You can see their episode where they took the Toyota Hilux and then they sent it off a building, right? They sent it off a building. They drove it into the sea, you know, they blew it up, I believe, if I remember that correctly, and that car still survived, the truck still survived on just basic tools, like no extra parts needed. They just kind of fixed it up as they showed on camera. Obviously, there might have been other stuff off camera, but for the most part, you can see how bulletproof these are, and you can see why the Tacomas are still also extremely pricey on the used market, even older ones, because Toyota is such a bulletproof brand that people just love the reliability that comes with those cars. So yeah, Germans, great engineering, you know, fantastic when it comes to the, you know, the performance, the mechanics, all those little details. I think the Asian markets are fantastic for reliability and longevity for cars. So, yeah. Speaking of Porsche, 911 Turbo S Cabriolet. Again, not a big fan of like cabriolets, not a big fan of soft tops and convertibles, but I do think that these cars are fantastic. So now that we've done a couple of races with just the racer side of things, let's head off into the cop side of things, and we'll actually do another preview here of a car that is extremely exclusive, the Lamborghini Reventon.
Just 20 examples of the Reventon went on sale, with the 21st being built for display at Lamborghini's museum. Costing $1,350,000 and looking more like a stealth fighter, this is the ultimate weapon in destroying motoring preconceptions. To ensure the Reventon was at least as fast as the LP640, its engine has been tuned to develop even more power. All-wheel drive and low-profile 245 front and 335 rear Pirellis help keep this wannabe aircraft agile on the ground. Looking at the car, you can still see traces of the Murcielago underneath all the aggressive, angular panels. The front is now dominated by two large air intakes that help cool the brakes. The angular nose is mimicked in the now obligatory transparent engine cover and the rear spoiler.
So the Reventon, when it comes to the Reventon, I always felt that the Reventon, and I think it's pretty obvious. When it comes to the Reventon, definitely the inspiration for the Aventador. I mean, you can see the styling cues are extremely similar, and I'm not surprised that Lamborghini uses their one-off models to sort of test the waters for new tech, because one thing that you notice, like for example, I did a whole paper on this. When it comes to the Aventador S, a lot of the new tech that they threw on the Aventador S for essentially the second generation of Aventador, what was really cool was you could see in the Centenario, which was released before the S, they put, you know, all-wheel steering, they put a new platform on it, well, they bump up the power to make it more fast than the previous, just base Aventador, to more match the SV. So overall, when it comes to this car, you can definitely see in the Aventador why this car was even made, definitely testing the waters for making the Aventador and making sure that the styling was something that people were receptive of, stuff like that, you know, this new angular design, because this just looks like an Aventador. I mean, if you're looking at it, like, if people don't know that this car exists, you'd probably mistake it for an Aventador, right? So, I always did like how Lamborghini did that, so I thought that was always pretty cool. I'd like, for example, another example of that is making the Huracan Performante and then making the Evo. You know, they made the Evo and the Evo Spider, right? They took all the tech that they threw onto both the Performante, as well as combined it with a new like infotainment system that they threw onto the Centenario with the big screen, and from there they were able to make the Evo, and they all sort of all combined it. Distinction, very nice. Fun car, sounds fantastic. Obviously, we drove it at the very beginning of the cop career, but still, absolutely love the Reventon. And the cars that preceded it. I will always be a Lamborghini boy. Will always be a Lamborghini boy. Targa S, Targa 4S. Very nice. Cute little Porsche. Very much enjoy it. Finally, I think the last event that we'll do will be an Interceptor event, so.
For this next mission, your Interceptor vehicle has been fitted with a spike strip release mechanism. Activating the weapon will release a lethal spike strip from the rear of your car. Your vehicle can only carry a limited number of strips and will take time to recharge after each use, so only fire when you are confirmed a hit. Command out.
So you guys can see, just as I talked about previously, when it comes to the spike strips, this is a tech that is shared between both racers and cops, gives them both fighting tools against each other, and just like the racer version, they are pretty much the same exact thing, and you get limited amounts of them. So, since we unlocked the 370Z, let's go in and use the new car. I'll record this, and I'll see you guys in a second. So, you know, when it comes to the 370, I did love it a ton as a kid, but for me, growing older and realizing the other slew of amazing JDM cars that exist, it's kind of fallen off my radar a bit, even though I do still respect it. And the new, revamped one, absolutely fantastic. I do think it looks great from what I've seen. It's, until they made the manual new Supra, this car was, the new remade one was way better than the Supra before they made the manual Supra. So come on then, Pretzel, come here, buddy. You're gonna die today. Maybe I'm gonna die today. Oh, that's a little bit of karma, ain't it, boys? Alright, let's keep going. Oh, we can catch up to this guy. Can we take the shortcut? Yeah, you can take the shortcut. This is one thing you also notice with the Interceptor events is these cars like to take the, shortcuts and such, and you might see this guy do like a 360. I'm not sure if he will, but he might if I don't bust him fast enough. Actually, I need to... Wait, we're already at a minute. I need to get him. I need to get him. Come here, come here. I'm really screwing up here. Come on. I'm trying to use spike strips too with this guy.
I've made contact. My vehicle has taken damage.
I don't know if I'll get the chance to use it.
Onto the South Base Trail.
Oh, come on. Oh no! Dang it! It sucks. I thought I got him with that traffic car too. He's almost gone though. Almost no health. I just gotta catch up. Come on, come on, come on. Ooh, 30 seconds. Can I do this? I don't know if I can. Oh, if I get him one more time, yeah, I think. Oh, he crashed. Come here, idiot. Come here, idiot. Boom. Yeah, I know we didn't get to use the spike strips, but because I screwed up so many times because I'm stupid and bad, we weren't able to use them. But I feel like with Interceptor events, the weapons that are spikes, like spike strips, are kind of not as great. Obviously, I screwed up a lot, but I also don't think they're as great, just due to the fact that, well, when it comes to spike strips like that, when you're doing one person, I think it's harder, especially when their AI is slightly different from the actual racers, like just in a regular like hot pursuit or something like that. But we did increase our wanted level, or not wanted level, our promotion level for the SCPD. We are now very similar to the racer side. We're now an officer, which is really cool. So. In addition to that, we get some new vehicles. Let's take a look what we can get here. Maserati Gran Turismo S. Hells yeah. Highway Patrol Unit in the next tier, I believe. Next tier vehicle. Really exciting. I love the sound of the Gran Turismo. I've run into a few of these a few times. And I think with that, we did some cool Interceptor events, unlocked some new cars, and I think with that, one day episode off there. So next time on Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, we will be continuing and trying to unlock the next tier of classes for both the cops and the racers. So I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, subscribe, share this video with your friends. Also follow me on the socials linked in the description below. You'll also be able to find the playlist in the description below. And without further ado, guys, thank you again so much for taking the time to watch, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Peace out.
Power, passion, performance. The Z story continues. New tech yet old school. A new shorter, sharper design, batched ahead of the front doors with the famous glowing Z signature that double as side indicators. The front engine rear-wheel drive layout is the way a sports car should be. The engine with variable valve event and lift, VVEL, thumps out 332 bhp and 270 pounds per foot of torque, propelling the car to 60 miles per hour in just over 5 seconds. The genes of the Z are running through every new curve, edge, and sculpted corner. The window is reminiscent of the original 1971 240Z. It's still low, it's still aggressive, and now it's got boomerang taillights.
High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lives.